So you have to log into your Gmail to download it? Or you don't have it on a flash drive? Okay.
We don't really. We're just accustomed to using Google Drive all the time now.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. All right.
I was trying to download her
You can.
presentation.
Which one's this? Is this the one that's running now?
Yes.
We can shut it down.
Okay. Do you want
Shut down.
her presentation up?
Which one?
She had to download it because it's on Google Drive. She doesn't have it on a flash drive.
You don't? Okay.
No, we can.
Do you want me to do that real
Do you
quick?
really need it for your thing? We have to start now. That's the thing. We are on a tight schedule,
Oh, okay.
so we don't really have time to download in between everything.
Okay.
And this is hers, so I could leave
So
it
this-
there,
Yeah.
and when she wants to.
You're gonna come up and help her.
Right, yeah, no
You're
problem.
gonna come up and help her. All right.
Sorry.
Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing? Come on in. I know we just had breakfast. Get settled. We're having some great conversations out there. Oh. So, hello, public art professionals, and welcome to the 2016 Public Art Pre-Conference. It's fantastic to see you all here in Boston. I know I'm personally excited to be here. This is where my public art career got started. And I went over to California and Nevada, down to DC now, where I get to help all you guys out in the field. For those who don't know me, my name is Patricia Walsh. I'm the Public Art Programs Manager with Americans for the Arts. And I'm super excited. Thank you. The conference not done yet, so wait. But thank you all for coming. We have a fantastic pre-conference coming up. So before we begin, I just want to recognize a few of those that really made this event really possible. I want to thank Karen Goodfellow with the Boston Arts Commission. They've done a really fantastic job and been a fabulous local host partner. Karen, can you just stand real quick? She also helped run a really fantastic party last night at the BSA space as well with the Boston Society of Architects, and we thank her for pulling that together for us. That was really fabulous of you. Thank you. And then also I want to thank the Public Art Pre-Conference Committee. This committee is made up of both local hosts, so people based here in Boston, as well as people from our Public Art Network Advisory Council. And so I just want to recognize, if you guys could stand, Karen Goodfellow, Susan Pontius, Leosh Heder, Equa Holmes, Aaron Harkey, Jim Glenn, and Kate Gilbert. Just thank you all so much for all your work. You've been fabulous. Well, and lastly, but certainly not least, I want to thank the overall Public Art Network Council. You've been fantastic to work with. I've been really happy to work with you over the past years, 3 years now that I've almost been with this job. You've been fantastic. We had a wonderful conversation yesterday really talking about the current topics that are going on, the issues that you guys are all facing out there, and how we can help support you guys in the work that you're doing. So thank you all. If you guys could just stand real quick, it'd be fantastic to see all of you. There's about 15 of them. You'll see them throughout the day, and they have a green council member sticker at the bottom of their badge. So you just look for that and introduce yourself. They're fantastic people. Okay, so the Public Art Pre-Conference is designed this year to help encourage networking, share knowledge, and provide a place to discuss with peers the current trends and topics of the public art field. To accomplish this, we have developed tours, a set of 6. 2 sets of concurrent sessions that you'll notice in the brochure are listed at 3 different levels. We have one during each set that's for newcomers or new leaders or people that really just want to brush up on some basic skills. We have one that's sort of a general common topic that's really kind of trending and really important right now. And then we also have a third one that's really more for established people that have been in the field for a while. We've heard, talking to people as Americans for the Arts, with the field, knowing that you guys are really interested in that multiple layer of how you guys learn. And where you are in your career. So we're trying to figure out how to support you in that. So we're trying this out this year, and hopefully it works really well. So let us know. There's going to be a survey afterwards, so please let us know how that works. And then tomorrow, to continue the learning, we'll have roundtables in the morning. you want more information on the roundtables, they're right in the back here. There's a little table and there's a handout that you can grab on some of the details, as well as the presentation for the Public Art Network Year in Review, which will be presented by our 3 jurors. Very exciting. We have Lucas Anthony Cohen, who's a curator, Franca Delnat, who's an artist, and Constant White, who's an administrator. So we're really excited to see them tomorrow. And Sarah Conley-Odenkirk, who's our current chair, will also be moderating that panel. So very exciting. And then shortly we'll be hearing from this year's PAN Leadership Award and one of my close friends and mentors, Barbara Goldstein, so very exciting about that. And please join us this evening for the 5 and 5. When you get back here from the pre-con party, always a good time. A little inebriated, but it's a good time, you know. And just a few housekeeping notes. If you have not picked up a ticket for a tour, if you have not signed up for a tour, you can do so right outside this door. Tickets will be available until about 9:45, 9:30, 9:45, and then we have to start moving on to get our tour set up. The buses will be leaving from the main lobby of this building at 10:15. So once we're done with the presentation here, just wander yourself downstairs. Oh, and for the roundtable, so we'll have them tomorrow morning. We have some set discussion points that we knew were really interesting to you guys that we already set up, but also feel free if you talk to people, have peers, have colleagues that you're really like, you know what, this is a topic I really want to talk about, and you want to grab some few people, you can set up your own roundtable. Or you can also grab people from your same regional area and try to set up a conversation on that as well. So feel free to mix and mingle as you can and use that time as an opportunity to talk more in depth about a specific topic that's important to you. And then also I want to thank Forecast Public Art, who again for the second time has donated their latest edition of Public Art Review. So please help yourself to a copy. They're also on that back table as well. So thank you. Yes. And as we go through this next day and a half together, I encourage you to connect with each other, and I encourage you to participate. Your voice, your questions, and your thoughts are what make a conference like these engaging and dynamic experience for everybody. Time was spent to mold this public art pre-conference to a platform for discussion and idea exchanges. We are using different session models designed for different levels of both experience and engagement as a means to provide space for you to learn based on your needs. So I really hope you guys really take advantage of that this year. The adjustments in our programming reflect a new way of AFTA's direction in field education. Over the next year, you'll also notice updates to our public arts directories. We're doing one public art programs. I know you remember those books that we used to do way back in the day. We're putting it online and we're gonna make it a searchable database. We're also doing one on public art services, which will be really exciting as well. And then we have current resources will also be recognized and easier to build out. So you'll be seeing those changes over the next year or so, and we'll be doing a really fantastic launch next year at the pre-conference. So keep an eye out, it's all gonna be rolling out over the next year. These changes will complement new tools that have also been released recently, such as the Best Practices Public Art Projects, led through development by Sarah Conley-Odenkirk, the current chair of the PAN Council, and their PAN Council themselves over like 4 or 5 years. I'm sure Sarah will talk a little bit more about them when she comes up. And we have also been developing new partnerships, such as one being formed with the encouragement of the Council between Americans for the Arts and the American Planning Association to support the needs and resources to help relationship building and as a means to encourage planners and public art professionals alike to sit at the table together. We're also working on other relationships to help highlight the value of public art across the country, including a cause marketing campaign to be launched later this year with Chris Wines, so please stay tuned for that. There are also encouraging discussions happening in allied fields about the importance of the role of art in public projects. This is most evident in the field of parks, on both the national scale and the local scale. The National Park System has embraced the power of the arts, and you'll see a few videos from them tomorrow morning during breakfast. It's really exciting. And the City Parks Alliance and Trust for Public Land are elevating the connection of artists, culture, and the work that they do. The presence of public art is felt throughout communities around the country. We work in a field with a precious mission to help create healthy, vibrant, and equitable communities. All of you make that happen on a regular basis, and for that, I thank you. I thank you for your passion, your thoughtfulness, and your energy. Americans for the Arts thanks you and presents you with these next 2 days to celebrate and connect with your peers. And with that, I would like to welcome up PAN Council Chair, Sarah Conley-Odenkirk.
Good morning. Luckily, I don't have quite as much to get through, so I will quickly turn it over But first, I would like to also thank the Boston Preconference team and specifically Karen Goodfellow. Thank you for all the hard work. This is a fantastic conference so far. There are indeed a lot of very exciting things happening, and so hopefully we can all benefit and also hang out with one another. I don't see most people even from LA except when I come to these conferences, so this is fantastic. And certainly thank you to Patricia. You put up with a lot of stuff from the council. So thank you very much for your hard work. I want to highlight something that the council has done this year that we're very proud of. I say we, but actually Lester Berg is the one who pulled it all together. This is our newsletter for the first time. You can get a copy of it on the back table. And what it has aimed to do is, actually it has, it's not just aiming to do, introducing all of the council members, because we would really like to be involved with all of you. We'd like to hear what you have to say and find out what issues are important to you and how we can direct our efforts over the next year and beyond to address those issues that are most important to you. One of the things, as Patricia mentioned, that has been a big project for all of us is the best practices. So first of all, the council was fantastic to work with in pulling this all together, but it did all start a couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago, with all of you. We've had a couple of sessions over the years where people have given their thoughts and suggestions as to what should and should not be included in best practices. So we finally have the beginnings of our best practices. They are printed on the back of the newsletter in sort of a short, somewhat abridged form. The full and complete version is online. And we will be moving on to the next phase now of developing a committee and figuring out ways to annotate and enrich what we've already done so that the best practices are solid and very helpful for people to refer to in the processes that you're going through in your individual communities. The last thing that I will mention before I get off of the stage here is that one of the other projects we'd like to be focusing on over the next year is really developing the regional councils. And Jimmy LaFleur has been heading up that effort. And we really do want to reach out to everybody and either connect with existing regional councils or help you develop regional councils if that's something that we can help you with. And we are developing resources, and we're open and available for anybody who would like to have some support in that process. So thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity of being here. I can't believe I'm going to be on the same stage that Barbara Goldstein is going to be on in a few minutes. And thank you again. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Council. And I'm going to turn it over to Karen Goodfellow now for the next. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, everybody. I'm Karen Goodfellow. I'm the director of the Boston Art Commission here in the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture in Boston. And on behalf of Mayor Walsh and the Art Commission, which is an independent board of arts leaders from across the city, citizen volunteers, I'd like to welcome you to Boston. We're so proud to be hosting AFTA, Americans for the Arts, and hosting the Public Art Network here. It's really incredible, and I'd like to thank Patricia especially for all the work she's been putting in and all the conversations we've been having. It's been an incredible process just to prepare for this, and has really, I think, pushed us to understand the issues we're dealing with as we prepare to share them in dialogue with you. And I just wanted to take a moment and thank you for having those conversations with us. I have found that the things that we're focusing most on, and you'll see that reflected in some of the tours especially, are the issues that we're facing along, expressing our diversity, exploring how gentrification is changing our city and what the role of public art is in there. And I think that's something as public art professionals, we're, especially those of us in urban areas, are all probably battling with sometimes. When are we doing good? When are we maybe not protecting the cultural values of a city? And that's something we're thinking a lot about. So I welcome your thoughts and hope we can share some thoughts there. Some of the other things that we talk about here in Boston that may be relevant to some of you are controversial memorials and the stories we tell, through our public art. And what does it mean when we honor someone who we might no longer want to think of as a hero? And how do we tell those stories while respecting the history? and how do we create new memorials and sort of change the narrative and understand the teaching role that public art can have in a city. So that's another one of the subjects we're hoping to talk to you about. And I think lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about how we've been sort of shifting our idea of what public art is. We've been working on a lot of projects around civic design. So we have a lot of people, which is also a bit of a controversy, a lot of architects and designers, doing public art projects. So how, where is that? When is it design? When is it art? And when does it matter? So thinking a lot about that, and also thinking about the role of social practice, civic and social practice. This year we started an artist in residence program at the City of Boston, and we're expanding that. We're going to be putting out a call very soon to expand that program to have 10 residencies over the next year, and have artists doing work out in the field, working with the community directly. This year the 3 projects focused on gun violence. One was a residency with the Boston Police Department, still going on, focusing on gun violence and racism. You might have seen Chapung Lu at the party last night. She had created the memorial for the victims in Orlando. So very, very active community members, very active artists. And Limerchi Fraser's doing a piece on addiction for women. So she's working with the Office of Recovery Services and Women's Advancement. And lastly, Georgie Friedman's looking at the idea of the sort of changing spaces in our cities and neglected spaces, working with Department of Neighborhood Development and the Parks Department. So they all work in really different media. So how does a video artist, a quilter, and a composer, how are they doing public art? Because they're interfacing. So I'd love, over the next couple days to hear how your cities, how your towns are doing that. And the way that public art is changing for you as well. So I just wanted to come up here and open up these questions to you and sort of let you know that these are the things that we're trying to learn, and look forward to talking to you about over the next couple days. And thank you again. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everybody on the PAN Council. And welcome to Boston. And I hope you had fun last night, and I hope you have fun over the next couple days. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So now on to our next speaker. We have Robert L. Lynch, who's the CEO and President of Americans for the Arts. Robert.
So good morning, everybody. It's my honor to get a chance to welcome you to this pre-conference and to the conference itself. And I want to start off by thanking you. I want to thank Patricia for the great job that she's doing, and Sarah, Karen, the other people who have been talked about here. I want to say a special thanks, though, to John Hayworth, who is on our board of directors and who serves as the liaison to the council. And he is somebody that I abuse terribly, because John he did a great job with you guys, and so we asked him to chair the Arts and Business Council New York wing of Americans for the Arts, and he does a great job with that. So then when I was leading the Craft Emergency Relief Fund board, we asked if John would go on that board, and he's doing a great job on that. So I have a few other things to talk about later, but thank you so much, John. That's really great. I also want to just point out in the back of the room standing there is Mara Walker, our Chief Operating Officer, who is fully involved in everything in public art, and I'd like to ask for a round of applause. And then yesterday I had the chance to meet with the Public Art Council, a hard-working group, lots of ideas, lots of issues, and now they've created a problem for me, because the photo spread that was just held up is beautiful, of all of them, and now every council wants one of those, and the board of directors is saying we don't have one of those, and so all of a sudden we're going to have to do a lot of promotion of all the people. But I thank you for that. And I want to mention one thing too, related to Karen, and that is the Arts Commission, 1890, founded in 1890. Think about that. That's incredible. It's the oldest entity with that kind of name, Arts Commission or Arts Council, that I know of. Certainly the oldest one that is still continuing. And right after that was founded, later the state of Utah did a state arts council, and then nothing until the 30s, and then of course the movement got going in the 40s. And so we're here with real history, and I honor that, because it's a big deal. So with that, We are here in a place that I love because this is where I grew up. I grew up 20 miles south of here in Stoughton, Massachusetts, and went to high school here, Boston College High School. My high school, for context, looks out at the Boston gas tank and Sister Carita's piece that has been on there for all those years. And what I think about is that this town sweeps, has been talked about already, the variety of public art, from the 19th century statuary, the memorials, and all of the good and the controversial that goes with those memorials that Karen alluded to, also to temporary works by cutting-edge artists, Ai Weiwei, Janet Eckelman's work here, and it makes this city a great location, I think, to host the Public Art Pre-Conference, and particularly since many of those things are walkable. It's a very, very walkable city. I grew up here, as I said, and my 92-year-old mom is down on Cape Cod, and she was very excited that we were coming here, because now I'm going down there for a few days afterwards. But she took up painting at the age of 80, and at the age of 90, she had a two-woman show in Falmouth. And this year, she's having a two-woman show with her granddaughter, my niece. So that's pretty cool. But the most important thing is that, for her, is that she wanted to be considered a professional. And I know you guys think about that stuff all the time. And what was her definition of professional? Well, she had to sell one painting to a non-family member. That was the deal. And so when she did the show down in Falmouth last year, she decided that she would price everything, you know, $100, $150, but two pieces were for sale for $29.99. And family members couldn't buy them, and two people bought them, and now she's a pro. So public art, as I've said many times, is critically important because of its direct connection with the community, providing neighborhoods and cities themselves with a sense of place, a connection to the arts and to themselves. And you know, one of the things for me is that my work now is largely with the non-arts part of our world. It's with mayors, it's with city councils, it's with the National Governors Association or the National Lieutenant Governors, or with business leaders, or, as you heard, upcoming with planners. And the job is to bring your message to them as they consider what they're going to do with legislation or with money. And so I continue to take your ideas and hopefully bring that to those entities. I get the chance to go to about 40 cities a year, and as I said to the council yesterday, I become one of your biggest consumers. I get to see public art in all kinds of communities, big and small, everywhere. And as I do that, I'm bringing to those towns and learning from those towns messages that we can then share with the entire field. And the big ones for us, and we'll talk about it during the rest of the convention, but the big ones for us are a combination of 5 things. Pushing for local leadership empowerment. That's you. That means more resources for those folks, and that means more policy, but strengthening local leaders. So a lot of our work is about that. Certainly right now, a huge thrust for us is equity. Diversity, inclusion, equity. How do we make that a bigger part of what we're all looking at? I just came from the Arts Education Council, and arts education has been a huge part of our work in the last years, and we had a big success this past year with arts education legislation, the Every Student Succeeds Act being passed. But now the hard work becomes all across the country. How do we get resources for arts education, and how do we have public art be part of that arts education? How do we have that be part of what kids learn about? We are focusing on the value of the arts and the multiple values of the arts, what I call the transformative value of the arts. So how does public art change the way people look at a neighborhood or at the homeless population or at kids at risk? Or how does all of our work help with things like that? You know, I look at art in public places like in hospitals, which has grown to some 50% of American hospitals today, having art there because it is something that is not just decorative, it helps transform that place and helps patients heal faster. And that's what you do, and that's what I think is the power. And then, of course, the final thing that we put a lot of time into is new resources of all kinds. Where is the money going to come from, public and private? That's going to bring me to in our organization to the Democratic National Committee and Convention this year and the Republican National Convention this year. So I will be bringing any messages that you want to Bernie, Hillary, and Donald Trump. So just give me those later. Over the past year, we've been exploring the arts and issue, and public art is continually an inherent overlap with many of those issues. And it includes things like future urban planning and rural planning, environment, transportation. So we're going to keep fighting and keep learning from you to carry on that fight. Artists are a core part of all of that. The idea of artists being at the core of creating healthy, equitable, and vibrant communities is a big part of what that message is that we're bringing to the Democratic Convention or the Republican Convention. Public art is at the core with artists in that kind of work, and public art administrators are at the core. You are at the core of that. And we are here to help you. We're here to try to provide the resources, the training, the information, the introductions that we can to make your work easier. So with that, I welcome you. I thank you for coming to my hometown, and I hope you have a great experience in the great city of Boston and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're going to move on to the next portion of our morning session, and we're going to be going on to our talking about the Pan Leadership Award. So to introduce the award, I'm going to invite John Hayworth up, who is on the Board of Americans for the Arts. So John?
Thank you so much, Patricia, and thank you for your hard work each and every day. I also want to acknowledge, thank you, Bob.